I would say a concept that a lot of people have about Berlin entrepreneurship that I would strongly disagree with is that we're just a bunch of coffee-drinking hipsters that live from a hype that is unjustified.
Berlin is this amazing place, right? There's been so much hype and excitement and talk about it in recent years, but the amazing thing about Berlin is that there's this really irrepressible spirit. There's lots of young people wanting to try stuff out, right? The rents are still cheap, the lifestyle is great, there are people flowing in from all other parts of Europe, from Scandinavia, from Western Europe, from Eastern Europe. And so you've kind of got this crazy mix of young, interesting, creative, energized people, and that's what makes Berlin such a great place to start something, even if you don't know what to start.
My meeting right before was a young guy from Cairo who was in banking in London, quit after 2 years and moved to Berlin. Of all the places he could have gone, he said, I'm going to be in Berlin because I can sense that that's where the action is and I want to be an entrepreneur. You can't buy that, it's just happening. And the beauty with the Berlin movement is it's not top down. The government, whether city or federal, hasn't said, we're going to make Berlin an entrepreneurship hub. It happened. It happened because of the innate qualities of Berlin. It's multicultural, super creative, lots of arts, music. It's hip, it's inexpensive, international. All that attracts lots of people.
We saw a lot of changes during the last 4 years. One change is that, for example, this part of the city was abundance. Nobody wanted to be here. It was a part of the city where you were crossing by, but you would not go out for coffee or a drink or something like that. Now it's like the center of startup culture in Berlin, even maybe in Germany. And it's very well known, so we were part of that gentrification, startupification of the city. And then on the other side, I still remember when we had our first startup pitch called Beta Pitch, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and it was so hard to find people who wanted to attend this event, to convince people that it's interesting to listen to somebody else's business idea. They were all like, no, that's super boring. Why would I listen to their ideas? And now you can go every weekend or even like every second day to a demo day, to a startup competition.
If you run, for example, like we do, an international marketplace in so many countries, you need native speakers, and you need native speakers, not just native speakers, you need native speaker marketing experts, native speakers, support people, native speaker, web designer, whatever you want, in all these languages. And in Berlin, you have the opportunity to find all of those because Berlin has, in Europe at least, such a great brand that people from all over Europe come here to work in startup environment. So you get these entrepreneurial native speakers from all over Europe here in Berlin. That's a huge advantage.
Berlin itself is a startup. It's going through several phases of development, and when it comes to companies here, you'll see that there are different waves of certain things that are happening. So Berlin has been very mentioned in media very recently for the last couple of years as a tech hub for Europe, and this has obviously influenced a lot. So we have a lot of attention on Berlin. There's a lot of foreign expats moving to Berlin because they want to be part of this opportunity. And what I'm seeing, at least personally, is that there's certain maturement going on with Berlin at the moment. So in the beginning, it was all about we all entrepreneurs, we are poor and young and sexy. But now, actually, company here starting to realize that if you want to take it the next step, you need to really start to think about how you turn this into a working business, but also how do you expand in order to conquer the world.
A misconception that I often see here in Berlin is that we had the debate between copycats or being innovative, so to say. And this debate is very interesting for people who have a lot of time and nothing else to do, but it's not very interesting for entrepreneurs. because a misconception about entrepreneurship is that it's only your idea, that it's very original, or the misconception is that it's only about working very hard and it's only about execution. But it always has something of both.
So I think Berlin made a big step, but there's still some homeworks we have to do here. So one of the things is that the Germans in general are not so easy to convince to take risks. So private money is not going to startups so much as it is in the Silicon Valley. So I hope that when we talk again in 4 years or 5 years, we will have more people who are willing to take that risk.
Sometimes I think there is not that much economic pressure here because life is still quite cheap. So sometimes it would be good to have a little bit more economic pressure or pressure to be successful just to get things done. So on the other hand, sometimes I think that is what makes it out, and that is Berlin.
There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of talking about what could happen. It would help if one of these up-and-coming companies, whether it's SoundCloud or Vuga or ResearchGate, or had $1 billion exit, because first of all, it attracts, success attracts more capital. It pours capital through the owners. You create 10, 20, 50 millionaires. A lot of them want to give back, be angels.
Berlin is a city full of artists, and certainly a city full of starving artists as well. It's not a rich city for sure, but there's a strong ambition in the city. So a lot of Germans, and for that sake also Europeans and international people, come here to build something. And I think on average people here work extremely hard. We have very long hours. There's a huge drive. I think in terms of working hours, drive and spirit, we are the ones that come closest to what's happening in Silicon Valley.
Give it time. It takes 20 years to build a sustainable startup ecosystem. I'd say we're probably 5 years into or 3 years into the Berlin story, and it's looking great. Mostly because of the talent magnet that it is.